From the Euthanasia release, that is Megadeth with The Train of Consequences. And kicking off the classic metal show tonight, we heard Testament with a classic with The Souls of Black. And coming to the stage with a Soul of Black and a guy who makes this town go, my friend and partner, Chris Aiken. What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's the matter? Did you tie one on last night?
No, not at all. It's been a crazy work week. It's been a fucking shitbag money week. So
shitbag money week.
Not making it, just a lot of shit. Just my son had a MRI last week. I got that $3,000 bill in the mail. I had to open a new bank account, and of course, when I switched all the stuff that's like automatic bill over with pay, because I use my PayPal card to draw from everything. Of course, none of that works. So now I have one bank account that I'm trying to close. That's like $1,100 in the hole.
Right.
That I'm now, trying to resort money to deal with that. Then my daughter hit me up and said, "Yeah, I need a little help with the rent this month." I was like, "How much?" $500.
All of it.
yeah. Her rent's like $575.
Yeah.
She needs $500.
Yeah, I need it all.
Yeah. So it's like I'm negative. I'm about negative $4,000 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fun week in the Aiken money making machine. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's it goes out quicker than it comes in sometimes.
Yeah. So if anybody needs a website, I could really use the work today.
Sure.
Nah, I'm all right. I'm just in a funk, I guess. Just in a kind of just a shitty mood, I guess.
Well, maybe we can spark you up a little bit and do something fun tonight.
Well, I hope so, because literally trying to perk myself up watching endless hours of Oz for the 900th time, that didn't do it. That was not the inspiration that I needed today. It just put me into even worse of a mood.
Sure, I would imagine. That's kind of a dark, subject material to brighten your day.
Yeah, it really. Sometimes I don't make the best choices in the world.
Well, maybe you could, look at the bright side. Well, at least I'm not those guys getting fucked in the ass.
Yeah, no kidding. No shit. At least that's not my dick dragging across the cement floor of the hole.
Right.
Jesus, there's a lot of cock in that show.
Well, I watched maybe 3, maybe 4 episodes of that, and it's like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of dick in there.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it that much. I watched, everybody was, you got to watch Oz, when it was actually on HBO.
Right.
And I had satellite at the time, and I checked it out a few episodes, like, not so much.
Definitely one of my favorites of all time. I love that show, but there is a lot of dick involved. That's for sure. I'll tell you what, you want to feel old? It came out in 97.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Man, 97.
20 years. 20 years.
That's ridiculous. That show is 20. But whatever. That's me. And then even like last night, you know what I did last night? You're talking about how I'm partying so wild. I sat around watching documentaries that made me sad.
Yeah, I saw that you mentioned the Chris Farley documentary.
Dude, that was like one of the most depressing documentaries ever.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a guy, and we talk about this all the time. People with immense amount of talent, and they catch their big break, and it's just like, why don't you ride the wave and just enjoy it instead of just totally obliterating everything you worked for?
Right, and that is just what that guy did.
Yeah.
They showed him, and he was on top of the world, and he was, riding the wave, and everything was working, and then just went to shit in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like he was on top of the world at 31 and dead at 33.
Yeah, well, there you go. Just burned it out.
And somewhere in there, he jammed in 18 rehabs. It's like, how do you fucking do that? 18 rehabs. It was just sad. It was watching it, and, you had all these famous comedians just talking about how, like, he was the most talented guy that they had ever encountered. And he's dead at 30.
Yeah.
That's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was real uplifting as well.
Yeah. Well, no wonder you're in a negative mood.
I know. I just put myself into the ugly place for 24, 48 hours.
Well, you know what? Sometimes that is a positive thing, because when you get into that zone, and as long as you can, come back out of it, and you don't depress yourself with like a bunch of drugs and alcohol or something, right. It could maybe make you appreciate what you have.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, after going for these sad shows here, the only thing I could think of more uplifting than what I've been watching would be like Schindler's List. It's like, man, there's nothing, Passion of the Christ or something. It's like, man, I don't know what I was thinking. You ever get in that where you start watching stuff and then you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
That was today. I was like 6 or 7 episodes into Oz, and I was like, why am I watching this shit?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't turn it off anyway. And I was like, oh, well, fuck, it's already on.
Sure.
I'm not going to, God forbid I should lift my arm to move the remote.
Right.
That's way too much work.
Sure. Well, I too spent a good portion of the morning before I decided, I'm wasting a lot of time here watching documentaries. But I got caught up on watching little historic type things that actual just regular people filmed.
Sure.
I was watching some history stuff that some people out there are pretty talented, with everybody's got their little GoPro camera now.
Oh, yeah.
And they go out and document things that they have a passion for or a great interest in. And one of the things, and I don't even know if you're aware of this or not, probably not, but maybe you are. One of the things I'm always interested in is history of industry, industrial history and things like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I had found out or heard about, I wasn't aware of it until probably 15 years ago. There is a section of the Pennsylvania Turnpike that was abandoned.
Okay.
What the deal was is that I don't know if you and I drove on the PA Turnpike. We went to Baltimore together, mm-hmm. and we rode on the Turnpike. And there's a series of tunnels because it was just cheaper or more effective to burrow through the mountains rather than try to go around them or over them or whatever.
Right. Sure.
So there was a series of tunnels on the PA Turnpike, and there's a total of 7. Okay. Well, the PA Turnpike is built on top of what was going to be a proposed railroad way back in the 1800s, and they started burrowing into the mountains to create tunnels for the train, and it just got so expensive that they just abandoned the whole project of running a train across PA.
Okay.
Well, then in 1930. With the cars and things becoming, the mode of transportation, they decided that they wanted to make this turnpike between Pennsylvania and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So they just built it on top of what was going to be the railroad.
Huh. Okay.
So they just used that right of way there that the railroad already had, they had already graded, and they had already burrowed through some of the mountains for tunnels and whatnot. So they just built the turnpike on top of the old railroad right away.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. So, but the thing is they made it into a 4-lane that it is today, but the tunnels were only single lane. So at each tunnel, they had to narrow down the 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and do 2 lanes through the tunnel and then go back out to 4 lanes. Well, the the Turnpike Commission decided that they were going to add the second tunnel, beside the original tunnel.
Okay.
And because of the time and expense and everything of doing 7 tunnels, they decided just to go around 2 of the mountains over there rather than build a second tunnel. So they just abandoned a 10-mile stretch of the PA Turnpike, and it's just there's nothing, there's no beginning, there's just an end and a beginning, and that's it, and two tunnels sitting out there in the wilderness.
Right.
So I was watching these people who document this because now it's a bike trail and stuff, and you can just go out there at your own will, and they're exploring these tunnels and exploring all the mechanical parts because they have to blow air through the tunnel to irrigate it for the exhaust and everything. Mm-hmm. So they have these big turbines still inside the tunnels that used to, cause the air to flow through there so it didn't kill somebody with carbon monoxide,
Right.
And,
okay.
they're just still there. And I was watching some of that today, and I was watching some, documentaries, people taking their little cameras and going to these abandoned towns and stuff like that. Right. So I was kind of in that mood. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, wow.
So I was in a learning mode today, or a kind of a exploration phase today, rather than depressing myself with getting jammed in the ass with prison cock.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, dude, while we're talking documentaries, I watched, and it's rare for me to dump out on a documentary, but I finally did. It's been a while since I just dumped out completely on one. But you remember we did the Harry Chapin song "Sniper" at some point?
Yeah, about the guy up in the clock tower.
In Dallas, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's in Texas. I don't know if it's in Dallas or not, but
Austin or somewhere.
Yeah,
it's in Austin.
Exactly.
The University of Austin or whatever.
Right.
Well, I was scrolling through documentaries on I'll say Netflix.
Okay.
I'll say Netflix with a K.
Yes.
And they have this expansive list of documentaries, probably 1,000 documentaries.
Sure.
It's really a good list. So I was going through and I came across one. It was simply called Tower. Okay. And I clicked on it, and it was, it said right up front that it was it was a documentary about that tower shooting. And I, other than the Harry Chapin song, I really don't know anything about that.
Sure.
Because I think it was before I was born. It was like 66, which is like a year or two before I was born.
Right.
So I've sort of heard of it, but I don't really know much about it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this. So I turn this thing on, I start watching it, and it starts off good, and there's lots of old grainy footage, and there's like some video of like a rifle muzzle coming out of like a window or something at the top of the tower, and smoke coming out of it and shit. Looks cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just starts shifting every time they start. Then they shift to cartoons, and it's cartoon art of the people being shot.
Okay.
I was fucking so pissed because it's like, and not even good cartoon art. It was like that really bad cartoon shit that they do today where like they sort of make a mouth open and close, but they fill in way too many words for the mouth opening and closing.
Yeah.
Just really bad art. And it's this really bad. It's some pregnant lady and her husband or her boyfriend or whatever, and they're walking, and she gets shot in the stomach and he gets shot in the head. And it's this cartoon looking over at the fucking bloody headed guy that's also a cartoon and going, Jim, wake up, Jim. It's like, oh, just fucking terrible. And so then I watched about 10 more minutes, and they kept showing clips of like the real thing.
Yeah, and you wanted to see the real thing.
Yeah, but then anytime they went into any kind of a story about the real thing, it switched back to a cartoon. So here's a cartoon of some policeman in the police headquarters walking up to the window going, I wonder what that noise was. That sounded like firecrackers. But it's a cartoon. I was like, for fuck's sake, you cheap fucks, get a crew and film it.
Right.
Reenact it at least. They did it with fucking crayons.
Yeah.
I was like pissed. So I was like 10 minutes in, I was like, fuck this. I'm not watching cartoons.
Yeah.
I want to watch cartoons. I'll go to Archer.
Sure.
At least there's pussy involved in that.
There is.
I know.
Very nice. Well, boy, don't we live the exciting lifestyle.
We are real party animals.
Yeah, we are. We're watching documentaries, learning about shit, learning about history.
The last couple weeks prior, we were out and about. Well, being that we're both old men, this week we had to recover from that.
But I've been kind of exploring YouTube a little more than I ever have before because YouTube has been around for 15 years now.
Yeah.
So there's a shitload of content out there, and it's getting better and better all the time.
Dude, you want some good news, bad news about YouTube?
Okay.
The good news is we have a very close friend of the show that now is a senior person at YouTube.
Oh, okay, very cool.
But you know what the bad news is?
What is it?
It's Michael Abatista.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, he went from Spotify to YouTube.
Well, can't blame the guy for wanting to,
Yes, I can. He should have kept a part-time job over there so I can get my codes.
Well, we had a 3-year run with that regardless, I'm always grateful.
Now, Michael, if you're listening, please work on YouTube to get a music program going.
Sure.
Like by August when our codes wear out.
Right.
I need a new one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of YouTube, and I won't get into it right now, but I noticed that YouTube is experiencing the pangs of one of the biggest reasons why we never went out to really seriously try to get some sponsors.
Why is that? What are they doing?
Well, some very, very big corporate people who put a lot of money into YouTube. They run their commercials and sponsor spots and everything.
Yeah.
Now a lot of them are pulling their sponsorship money because of objectionable material.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I actually got a story about that. I read that and I go, yep, I can see that happening. And this is exactly the reason why we never really pursued commercial sponsorship seriously.
Yeah, because that is what happens.
So the big corporations are putting pressure on YouTube to clean up the act.
Or we'll be off YouTube shortly. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no, I'm just saying that they won't put their money in there anymore.
So I guess that won't affect us any.
No, it shouldn't affect us. I'm not saying that YouTube is going to start pulling stuff. What it is, and we'll get into the story later, but what it is that YouTube is supposedly has some kind of a filter.
Okay.
And you know how these ads run.
Yeah.
Well, if you didn't select those ads are arbitrarily put on your YouTube clip.
Right, sure.
Well,
the monetization.
Yeah, exactly. Well, YouTube is supposed to have some kind of a filter that won't put certain ads on certain content.
Okay.
And apparently it's not working right, or it's failing, or, some objectionable material is being sponsored by Tide.
Well, I'm sure we're part of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because we've made 68 cents now with our 700 million listens.
Exactly.
You got to have a lot of listens to make any money on YouTube.
I would imagine.
I mean, we're not making any money.
Well, I know, but there's some way that there's some people that I know of that are making a few $100 a month.
Yeah, well, it sure ain't us.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of fucking listens, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think we've targeted any sponsors though.
No, I just have it turned on.
Yeah, but there's one.
Eventually, give me a check, I'll take it.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you target sponsors and specifically run them on your thing, you pick and choose them. I think that's where you make the money.
Oh, I haven't done that. I just turned on monetize.
Yeah, well, there's a way of doing it to where you actually are sponsored by specific sponsors.
Was unaware of that.
Yeah, that's what I understand how it works anyway.
Don't care. I'd be happy to turn our monetize off if that saves us a hassle.
Sure.
I don't give a damn.
I gotcha. Well, speaking of listeners and whatnot, we are 247,000 away from our 3 million mark. Wow.
Look at us.
Yeah. So we'll be there in June, just like I said we would.
Look at us go.
A million downloads in a 10 months.
It's pretty good.
That's crazy.
That is pretty ridiculous.
So keep it up there, kids. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate them listening, that's for sure.
I like that a lot.
Yep.
So what else is happening, Mr. Aiken? I haven't really even spoken with you this week.
I've been underwater work-wise. Just my big project that was supposed to started in January finally started this week. 2 months later, but 2.5 months later, but it finally started this week. So I was underwater building laptops and buying software and teaching myself how to work it so I could teach the staff how to work it. And just work. That's really, I did my first Pittsburgh run in months on Thursday. I went up to Pittsburgh for a few hours and then picked up my son and brought him home for his birthday. So, but yeah, I've just been busy, just rolling. I don't really have no stories to tell. I didn't do dick this whole week except stare. The big move that I made was I moved from my living room to my office to do some work because I needed the bigger monitor because my eyes are getting old by the minute.
Well, I too have been extremely busy with work. A lot of corporate style work coming my way. It's just crazy, this economy. Whether it's the Trump effect or I don't know what it is, but people are calling right and left wanting to spend money, and it's just like, bring it on.
I'm going to call it the Aiken IT effect because that all started the minute that you hired me.
That's probably true as well.
Although it's funny, and I won't get into a whole work thing, but my son came into me the other day, and he works primarily on you guys' contract.
Sure.
And he's just been showing me how your numbers are going up and up and up, and I'm like, good. Because the longer they keep going up and up and up, that means the less hassle I'll get from your boss calling me saying, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
Yeah, well, we're at a point now we don't have enough people to rein in all of that, so I'm actively looking for somebody to bring in.
So what you're saying is I am sort of doing my job?
I think so. I think it's you as well as just the economy and the new White House and all kinds of things. I think a lot of things, the weather.
People are ready to spend money.
Yeah, we didn't have a bad winter at all, and I think people are ready to start getting their projects on the move and
right,
all that good stuff. So anyway, I don't want to bore everybody with just business talk and whatnot. People are here to be entertained.
Yeah, my God, we got to get into some racist stuff and some.
We got to mention some fag stuff.
And some fag stuff, some Trump.
Yeah,
let's get to the core of the show here.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. So I have something to tell you, something fun. So I got a call yesterday from John.
Okay.
And he was like, I don't know where the miscommunication was in this mix, and I'm not blaming John here, but somehow it was perceived that I was seriously mad because of the yelling at him last week on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me and he was like, Steph said that you were really mad. And I was like, oh, no. I mean, I was annoyed the day of, but, whatever. But he really thought that, I don't think he did. I don't know if it was Stephanie or little Stephanie and hearing the show or whatever. But somehow it came out that there was a question if we were mad or just playing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think we were mad that we were anything but just playing?
No, well, I didn't look at it as like, seriously, I hate your guts and don't ever call me again. But from the annoyance standpoint, I understand the annoyance, but as being mad, no, I didn't really consider you being mad. I just annoyed and maybe a little put out at the time.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, I'm putting it out here, especially to the fans, because he did take quite a whooping from comments and Facebook and whatever. Me and John are like brothers. Of course, we yell and scream at each other from time to time, and then we have a drink and we're good. So stop sending it like John offended the host of the show or whatever nonsense. Because literally, we got some of that this week.
Oh, I obviously I would never see any of that stuff, so I never have any idea what's going on.
Some of it was funny. There was one, I don't know if you saw it. Who was it? I think it was Richard Davis. He had a great line. I put up in the social media the picture of Steffi's big tits to sell T-shirts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Came across, and he said something like, "I'll buy you a gift card at Kohl's for 10 pairs of slacks if you give me a hit at those titties."
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that comment.
Right on.
I
Those are nice.
Yeah, I saw you said something about get your CMS merch, and somebody said that they bought a shirt, but the titties didn't come with it or something. It's like there was no titties in there.
Yeah, well, sorry, I can't provide that.
Yeah,
believe me, if I could provide that, I would have bought all the T-shirts already. That you have,
right? Exactly.